Welcome to Adventures Walking as One, where we will explore what it really looks like to walk in the same direction on the same path as husband and wife.
We are Mark and Carol Schweiger of Walk as One Ministries, and we believe that marriage is the greatest adventure and one worth preparing for.
Amen. So, what do you want to talk about today?
Well, today is a very special one. It's called Marriage Unbroken, Broken Foundations, and today we have some guests.
I see them over here.
This is Roz and Rick Barrett. We're so happy to have you here today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Oh, this is so special. You've been married a little longer than us, 45 years. You have two grown kids, a son and a daughter, and 4 grandsons.
Yes.
Woohoo! What are the ages of the grandsons?
19, 14,
10,
and 8.
Okay.
and the 14-year-old is actually 15, and he would want us to correct that.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, at that age,
Better
for
make
sure.
that right.
For sure.
Okay.
Driving in 1 year, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
But you've been married 45 years, but it hasn't all been bliss,
No.
right?
Right.
No, someone mentioned that when we celebrated our 45th wedding anniversary, they said 45 years of marriage bliss. And I said, no, it's been about 10 or 12 years of marriage bliss. The rest was a struggle.
Okay.
And that's the part we need for this. We want to hear the struggle and then the hope.
Yes.
The 10 years of hope you're going to tell us about. So, let's start I guess we start at the beginning, right?
Yes.
So share with us, I guess, the unbroken, or the broken part. The broken part.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we want to start out just by saying that we're all human, and we all have broken places in our lives. I mean, I don't think anybody starts out to raise their kids to, hurt them or wound them. And so our parents, we're not blaming them. We are here to just shed light on the tools that they had, but there were wounds that we both incurred during childhood, and we're grateful for God's redemptive love, taking those parts and transforming us. So.
Yeah.
Yes, and how those wounds formed our perspective and how we react to each other.
Right.
Right, in our relationships.
Right, because there were foundational lies that came because of the broken parts in our childhoods. So we want to start with our childhood overviews, and we're going to go with Rick first. But first, we do want to say that we met in 9th grade, correct?
Yep, 9th grade.
And anyway, we had very humble beginnings, and then we dated all through high school, and we were married in 1981, and both of us were all of 20 years old.
Yeah.
And
That is young.
yeah, we were young.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it isn't. We'll see how as this goes on, if that was too young or not.
Yeah. So Rick's childhood.
So my childhood was very tough, right? So I grew up in a very dysfunctional, disattached, disconnected family. There was a lot of abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse. My friends in the neighborhood used to refer to me as Marilyn of the TV show The Munsters, if you remember that old TV show. The family was all Munsters, but Marilyn was a normal person in the family, so she stood out and was distinct. And that's how my friends saw me in the family, right? I developed an orphan mentality because my mom was very ashamed. She had me before she was married. And in 1960, that was pretty bad.
Yeah.
So she carried that shame most of her life and treated me from that shame. So I kind of pulled back from the relationship because of that, right? She always felt ashamed of me, and it showed as she reacted or interacted with me around people, right?
So you didn't feel connected with her?
No,
Okay.
no. She got married when I was about 6 months old. He adopted me, but then he was the one that really brought the abuse in. And it was pretty constant through my childhood all the way up till I moved out at 18, because as soon as I turned 18, I left,
Yeah.
right? I fled is more the picture there, right? So they were so, I don't want to say restrictive, but so they didn't care for me the way they cared for my brother and sister. And we saw that at birthdays, Christmas, right? The different amounts of stuff that was given out. I used to save my lunch money to buy clothes.
Oh, wow.
Because I wanted nice clothes. So I would skip lunch, save my money until I had enough to buy a shirt, and then I would go get a shirt or pants or whatever, right? So it was...
Now, they realized they were doing this at the time, do you think? Or they was unconscious?
I don't know. I think it was unconscious. I think it was just the shame, and then the fact that I wasn't my father's child, I was hers, right? And he had a rough childhood as well. So I think it was just out of their brokenness. Mm-hmm. I don't think they did anything really on purpose, right? But when you're a kid, that doesn't matter if it's on purpose or
it doesn't.
out of brokenness, right? It still causes the problems. So when I was in first grade, we lived across the street from the elementary school. So I could go across the street and play in the park, in the playground, right? Mm-hmm. So I was over there one day, and this couple guys came over and started picking on me. One of them starts beating me up. I'm right across the street from my house. Well, instead of coming over, my dad looks out the door, opens the door, and yells, "Kick his ass!" Closes the door, and went back in, right? Well, I'm 6.
Yeah.
So that really developed into a sense of, I need to take care of myself because no one else is going to do that. And right then, and I didn't realize this at the time, it's been several years of therapy to understand the effect of that, right? But that and several other things that built up with that really developed that I'm caring for myself, no one's going to take care of me. And that translated into me not being able to relate to my wife at a later point, which we'll get into. It also developed a victim mentality, which served me through a lot of my younger years. If I'm the victim, people feel sorry for me, and then I feel loved because they feel sorry for me.
And you get the attention.
And I get the attention, right? So it feels like love, but it's really pity. But it still feels like something, and it satisfies the need. And that was a huge effect on our marriage, and it took probably the most time to get through in the therapy that I've been doing. So,
wow.
About a year into the therapy the gentleman I'm seeing now, it's been 3 years to get through a lot of the trauma that was in and I'm not going to share all the details because it's pretty intense. Partway through my therapy, my therapist said, "I'm surprised you're a functioning human being with all the trauma in your background." And the interesting thing with that was, as we were preparing for this podcast, God showed me, at that time you weren't a fully functioning human being. You were a partially functioning human being.
Now, did you realize that?
No, well, yes. I kind of did, because I knew there were parts not attaching to your emotions. I had no response to anything. No response to, you can't hurt me, so I didn't feel hurt, but I couldn't feel joy either. So, watching sports games, I didn't get excited and jump up, down, and clap. I enjoyed watching them, but I didn't have the emotion behind it that I saw other people having. So I knew that I wasn't enjoying parts of my life, but I was still protecting my heart, so...
And that was a survival skill.
Survival skill. Yep.
Coping mechanism is, many would say, right?
Yes,
Wow.
yes. So really what we found out later was I developed a deep case of disassociation, which AI describes that as disconnected from emotions, thoughts, feelings, memories, or a sense of identity, which is buried and unfelt, unexpressed, because they're inaccessible to the trauma. And it was very inaccessible. I had no emotions. So raising children without emotions is
But I mean, you dated.
Right.
And you dated, and he had no emotions.
Well, prior to a significant relative that we're going to share in a minute passing, he did have a partially open heart because of his grandfather's love. And that was the one person that Rick was connected to. And because of that one person that showed up in his life, that made the difference. And like when we were dating, he would write me love notes with words. Words of affirmation are my love language. And so he would write really nice love notes and things like that. But that changed significantly during a period after we had gotten engaged. We were 19, and his grandfather died. And that's when Rick's heart shut down completely. And what was left of it, he had just turned 19. We had a birthday party at my house, my parents' house, because they loved on him and were the replacement parents for him, so to speak. And we gave him a gift, took photos, and then the one photo I had of him, he was holding a puppy dog, a real one, and he was very, very soft-hearted in this photo. And I could very clearly remember the Holy Spirit taking that photo of him and just printing it on my heart. And then we went from that to where his grandfather passed away, and God would keep reminding me about that photo of his real heart. The thing is that once we got married, I didn't realize it was going to be like at least 35 years till I saw that heart emerge out of Rick.
Wow.
So those were hard years. I knew it was there, and eventually in the debris of the implosion between us, it got buried. That photo in my heart got buried. So that was tough.
I'm anxious to hear the rest of the story when it comes back up, the photo.
Yeah.
But I won't go there yet unless you finish.
But the debris was there, and the house imploded. But that's...
Yeah, enough about me. Let's talk about you for a while.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What were you going through in all this time? I mean, he's going through a major overhaul.
Yeah.
What was it for you?
Well, it was funny because when we started talking about my childhood, mine was vaguer because there were more highlights in it, more love, more good points. When I thought of my mom, I had a good childhood. She was a lot of fun. But I had the dichotomy of a very angry father who was raised in the Depression, and so there was a very survivor mentality. My grandparents had to survive, and so my dad didn't have good tools, and I was a sensitive little girl that was being handled very severely, very roughly, and so that started to take a toll on me. It was very, very verbally and just harsh. And so my mom, who I thought was amazing when I was growing up, though I started to understand the wounds because she wasn't attached to her emotions. So because she wasn't, when I would be emotional, and let's say I was learning how to tie my shoes and I was getting really frustrated. I was maybe 4 or 5, and I was getting very impatient with myself. And she didn't know how to help me be more patient in that moment. And so she got really frustrated with me and just walked out of the room and said, "You're your own worst enemy," and left. And that line kept being replayed in my childhood. And it was really hard because I thought, okay, would somebody tell me how not to be my own worst enemy? Like I kept getting this declaration spoken over me, but without the tools to know how to get free from that. Mm-hmm. So my dad, who was very harsh, felt that fear was a great way to get me to listen. And so he would, verbally say, well, if you do thus and so, then I'm going to kick you out of the house without your clothes because that's how you came into the world, and that's how I'll send you out into it. Wow. And so, okay, pretty severe. And what that really placed in me was a seed of fear that I could do something, there's something in me that could cause this. So it was a very conditional kind of love. Mm-hmm. And so I had that, and then I had the declaration that I'm my own worst enemy, so I was really fear-based. and very anxious.
Yeah, I can see
As
that
a-
because the fear he was meaning to keep you in line, right?
Yeah. You know, he didn't want me to get hurt, so the fear was there not to not to do anything, that would cause hurt, and just to stay in line. But he would come in with the day's stress on him, and dinner time was a very traumatic constant because I learned how to start trying to control the atmosphere through perfectionism, trying to get everything in line so there would be nothing, because you don't know as a child what's causing that. You don't see the adult stresses. And so when he would come home, it would be very hard to eat a meal without having all that anxiety and being served as well as your meal. So that was very tense, and that was a triggering situation that got buried in my heart that surfaced years later.
I wonder if that was kind of generational as well.
Yeah, I don't think, we have so many tools today, all the stuff
Right.
that we've been teaching. And my dad had the similar experiences with Grandpa John. They had no tools, no training. And if you didn't learn from somebody the proper technique for raising children or dealing with anything, really, they knew about farming and working hard.
Yes.
And so it's hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was really no understanding of emotions back then.
No, straighten up and fly right,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
or else send you flying.
And cleanliness was a big deal. I mean, that was rewarded, keeping things,
Orderly.
clean, in good order.
I thought it was just because we had a big family and it was a small house.
Everywhere.
yeah.
Tell the story about going back and forth to school and having to ride your bike everywhere.
Oh, well, the other factor of fear is important to share because I lived over a mile away from school, and I was at a private school. We were a one-car family at the time, and I had to take the city bus for 6 years to school, and it was very...
In Detroit.
I would have to cross the 5-lane highway to get to the bus stop, and then
How
I'd
old
get
were
on
you? How old were you?
6 when I started.
Oh, wow.
and then I went to 12, and I had to have the right change, and I had to ring the bell to get off at the right stop. And sometimes some of the bus drivers were so compassionate, and they would be like watching where I sat, asking me where I needed to get off, and because I had the anxiety, if I miss my stop, I'm going to end up on the expressway somewhere, and so. People were kind, but it was also very a scary world out there. It was a big world, and my sisters were 6 years younger than I, so they weren't with me going to school. And when I got home, I got to help my mom, with the kids. But the whole bus scene was intense
Wow.
for a little kid.
So your broken parts
Fear.
and your broken parts.
They matched up perfectly.
They did.
They
Yep.
came together.
Her triggers triggered my triggers, which replaced her triggers right back, and caused us in lots of cycles.
We were both oldest kids, so we both had that responsibility factor. So that was a big deal because we were both type A responsible adults, even when we were young, because we had to survive.
Yeah.
So,
And the parents, thinking of even my own parents with the first one, it's kind of like the experimental,
Yeah.
right?
very much so.
And the expectation is very
yeah.
high, for them to get it right. And if your child doesn't reflect everything perfectly, that's a reflection on you as a parent, right? That was how it was viewed. And I would say in some degrees I kind of carried the same thing because it was kind of how I was raised too.
Yeah.
But not with the trauma that you went through. So you get married. And then what? Everything's wonderful.
And I
Yeah, marriage resolves everything,
Yeah.
right?
And I think you said you started seeing a little bit of this before you got married, right? A little bit of the behavior, a little bit of the dysfunction.
Yeah, it came out, but it wasn't like we recognized something's wrong. We just didn't relate, and
Well, they were sort of like little cues of we're going to start to do this wrong. Because Rick was really passive because he didn't want conflict. And I needed peace in my atmosphere because I didn't want what I had grown up in. So I was going to be in charge because this was going to, if he wasn't going to, be
Do anything.
passive, I don't know, there's no better way to say that, then this is how we were going to make it,
Okay.
which is obviously not a great way to start.
Yeah.
So because of my defense mechanisms, right, I learned not to make anyone upset. So whatever I had to say to Roz, if I disagreed with her or I didn't like what she was doing, I just shut up because my fear was I'm going to make her mad and then we're going to have an argument. It's safer just not to say anything. Well, not saying anything to your wife is a bad plan,
Yeah.
especially one that has the abandonment issues and has silence in her background. So my silence would get her protesting, which would start raising her emotions. And as soon as the emotions started going up, that just brought up all the fear in me, which caused me to hide like a turtle, which intensified the fact that I'm not responding to her need, because I didn't even see a need. All I saw was an angry wife, right? So yeah, it played right back against each
So
other.
it's a vicious cycle.
It was.
And the hardest part from a wife's point of view was I wanted him to find his heart and to reassure me. Because when you have fear as a basis, you need that reassurance that, he understands, he connects, and different things, different needs like that. So when he didn't respond and find his own feelings and his own emotions, he couldn't, they were buried, but I started to get angry and protest, and I didn't realize until years later in therapy that you're protesting. Your anger was normal in the context of what you were dealing with. But there was a whole healing process to get to unwrapping that.
And much like Rick, you didn't understand, like Rick was mentioning, abandonment. You didn't understand any of that. You just knew that he wasn't giving you what you needed, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, and it was a pain of abandonment, that I was too much to love, like the little kid trying to tie her shoes, and, I was too much.
But you had 2 kids. And you hung in there together. And that had to have been a challenge with children, right? Even agreeing on how you're going to handle things, right? Especially if you're passive.
Yes. So Roz always describes our relationship starting out like the first Rocky movie, Rocky and Adrian, right? We identified with that because Roz is very introverted, and at that point she was very introverted. I was very uncultured, and I worked on my strength on my body because I didn't have anything else really to identify with, so I would key on that. So the relationship was, we wanted each other, but we didn't know how to connect to really be together, and we didn't understand that we didn't know how. So as we raised kids, I stayed in that passive mode and befriended the children to protect me from my vicious wife who's angry at me all the time. So it became a very triangulation thing that Danny Silk explains, where you have a victim, a bad guy, and a rescuer, right? Well, for me, the kids were the rescuers because they would, protect me from mom's emotions.
And I didn't mind being the bad guy because somebody has to be the responsible one and teach and say no, and say, and do the hard stuff. So I didn't mind being the bad guy, so to speak. But that only lasts for so long, and it's not healthy anyway, so it's not going to bear good fruit.
Yes. Did you guys have any premarital counseling?
That would be no.
Well, we did, actually.
Yeah, a little.
Prior,
you're right.
we did get married. with a godly pastor who married us, and so we did have a little. But we did seek help through the years. And we did seek pastoral help, and we did seek professional help, which was an experience in and of itself, because
we would go in for marriage counseling. They would do the standard, let's get to know you, explain your childhood, and we would give them our information. They would immediately really feel sorry for me, start paying attention to my background, and some of them actually attacked Roz for how she was treating me. So it was really bad experiences.
That's nice.
Yes.
That was the hardest, and the counselor said, "Don't you think he has
A thought.
a thought? Don't you think he has a thought?" And I was like devastated, because I felt like I was being attacked, that I wasn't venerating him or thinking much of him or anything like that. And I was looking for an emotional response from him. And so I walked out down the hallway, and the Holy Spirit was so kind to me. He said, "No, it's not a thought. You don't think he has a word." And it was like, oh, I'm not condemned. It's like a word. He didn't have words because he wasn't attached to his heart.
Okay.
But
That was the last time we saw that counselor. We're not going back, yes.
Good idea.
It's okay. We all grow. But we didn't stay there. That wasn't.
So as far as the marriage counseling, it was, you got to remember, that was 1980, 81. I don't think there was any thought to love languages difference or explaining or having baggage or, it was very superficial, I think.
Yeah.
Not the same tools that we have
Not
now.
that we have today, yes.
Right.
You raised your kids, and then the kids fly away, right?
Yes.
And then what?
Well, that started the crash of our marriage, right? When the kids moved away, if you want to explain that part of how you felt with that, yeah.
Yeah, sure. So I was an at-home mom raising my kids, and all the things that moms do, drive their kids to and from school and all that. And so they both went to college, and then they moved on and started their own lives. And I was driving one day in the car, and I hit the brakes quick for a stop sign, and I did the automatic put your hand across the passenger seat, and all that was there was my purse.
Oh.
And that to me was like a gut-wrenching moment of, this is empty nest. You no longer are protecting.
Oh.
It was a stripping down of my purpose. It was a realization, and that spoke really loud to me. And the silence was really loud again, and that brought everything to the surface, those years of the kids moving out, and now it was just Rick and myself with all of our issues that needed to be dealt with, and we were in a very toxic place because we had created safe distance, and that was a term we learned through Danny Silk. And the safe distance really wasn't that safe, because by now I had protested for so long and needed him to find compassion towards me and my pain, and he was so afraid of coming near me because the pain level was pretty high. And so it was a long few years in that condition. Then we were imploding on a pretty consistent basis.
Now, were you,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, were you seeing the counselor during this time or before that?
It was before.
Before that,
Yeah.
Before that, but I think during
and
that
then
too.
and during and after, we saw several.
Okay.
And we'll get to it. The last couple that we've been seeing have been awesome, and we'll bring that up in probably the next segment a little better. The problem really was for me, when you have no emotions, or you can't feel them or access them, you can't respond to someone's emotions. So I would respond to her in my logical head of what I could see going on, and logic doesn't work with emotions. And so when I logically responded to her, she felt like I didn't understand. There was no empathy.
Okay.
So I couldn't reassure her that we're going to get through this, right? Because I didn't know that either. All I knew was my wife was now angry and hurting, and I had no clue how to help.
And I think a lot of us guys end up there.
Yeah.
Because we're, working on our bodies, like you said, or sports or things like that. Or for me, it was under the car all the time, so I could fix the car, but I had no idea what to do with the woman that's sitting next to me.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Rick, actually, Roz, I'm going to ask you this question. What brought you toward healing of this brokenness? That your marriage is like you're empty nesters. You would think this is a great time, but yet you're so distant.
Right.
And so many couples are like that. The kids grow up, they're out of the house, but a lot of times it's that they haven't invested time together. For you guys, you're both broken still and need healing.
Yeah.
What was there a pivotal moment? Was there something that triggered in the right direction?
That's a good question because for me, I was at a conference once and they had worship before the conference started, and I went into the worship experience, and it was funny because I heard Jesus in my heart, and he asked me, I call it the $1 million question. He said, Roz, what do you want? And I was shocked because I felt like, even though I talked to Jesus daily, I felt like he was sitting on his throne. It was the King of the universe who asked me this question, and I felt like such authority in it. But it was also an invitation to really search my heart for what I wanted. And I was sort of like shocked, and I went away. I didn't have an answer, and it stuck with me, and it really took me a while to process that answer. And I was searching in my heart, what do I want? It went deep in me, and so eventually I got the answer. I knew what I wanted. And when I heard the answer in my heart, I ran right to Jesus, and I said, Jesus, I know what I want. I want wholeness.
Beautiful.
And that's what started it, because we had so much toxicity, so much implosions. I didn't want to live that way.
And when she says it took a while, it was 2 years.
That's a long time to wait for an answer.
But he waited.
He did.
He waited, and he wanted me to know my own heart. But because of my upbringing, my emotions were buried too. I was afraid of being honest. And that's why it took so long.
Wow.
And during that time, in God's grace, I got sent out of town for work for a year. So I was in Texas, coming home once or twice a month for a year.
Wow. It's a long time away.
It was. And that really helped because it gave us that separation time where we weren't interacting in those bad cycles. And God started working on each of us.
It could have gone the other way,
It definitely could have went the other way.
but you were protected.
God had his hand on us, right? And I think he has his hand on all of us. It's whether or not we want to give in to his guidance and leading to take what he has for us, right?
Yeah.
So,
Awesome.
And I think
do you want to tell the drawer story?
No, I think we're going to wait. And we're going to caveat here.
it'd be part of the healing part that I'm anxious to hear for the hope that comes out of all this.
Yeah.
Because we've seen a lot of the dysfunction. What strikes me, we see it over and over again, that we don't know that we have these issues. We know that there's pain, and it's just surprising to me that we don't have more education, I guess, for people to, at least when they're starting off, to get to understand that they might have some broken parts, and we got to look at these things. And so I think we're going to end this session, right?
Yeah, we'll continue it, but for the next episodes, you're going to have to hang in there.
See, yep, you have to come back. You have to come back.
Leave it at the cliffhanger.
Yes,
it at the
yes, the
cliffhanger.
cliffhanger.
Yep.
Well, maybe you've had issues in your marriage, some really deep wounds that never got healed, and many of us have had to go through that. Maybe your marriage is a living hell. we want to help you. So we invite you to reach out to us. You can go to walkasone.net. You can email us at connect@waoministries.com. And, we've got resources for you to see, and we can connect you with Rick and Roz if you'd like to see if they can be of help for you. But there's a lot of information that we can help you with, and we do coaching as well.
Yes, for sure. Well, we hope you've enjoyed this episode of Adventures Walking as One. Our next episode, Marriage Unbroken, Rebuilt Foundations.
Yes.
Like I said, I'm really anxious to hear this. That Rick and Roz are going to share the steps that they went through to bring wholeness back into their relationship. So stay tuned.
Discover meaningful tips and simple ways to build a stronger, healthier marriage with Marriage Basics. Please subscribe and share this with a friend. Visit our website at walkasone.net.
Thank you for listening to a WBRW TV produced podcast in Washington Township, Michigan. Our podcast can be found on Spotify, and our video programming can be watched on WBRWTV.com or on our broadcast channels in Washington, Bruce, and Romeo on Comcast and AT&T. If you're interested in using our podcast space or have any ideas of your own for a podcast, reach out to us now at wbrwpodcast@gmail.com. For more information on our organization, our content, or how you can get involved, visit wbrwtv.com. The opinions, findings, conclusions, or recommendations expressed in this program do not necessarily reflect the views of the Charter Township of Washington, Michigan Community Media, or WBRW-TV.